Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's a CHGO Cubs Pregame Show presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Luke Stuckmeyer and Cody Delmendo with you as the Cubs get ready to start a series with the Arizona Diamondbacks out in Phoenix. Cubs coming off a nice series win against the Padres, taking 2 out of 3 in San Diego, which was a little bit of a surprise, Cody, to start the West Coast road trip. Now another late game against the Diamondbacks, and you don't want to have a letdown after you win 2 out of 3 against the Padres.
Yeah. First off, nice to see you, Luke. Haven't
too,
seen
Cody.
you in person in a couple of days. Anyway, yeah, you're exactly right. You're hoping you don't have a big letdown after you win 2 or 3 in San Diego, and we're gonna eventually talk about the pitching matchup, but historically, if you look at the numbers, the Cubs should fare well tonight, but you know how it goes when Cubs go up against former players that used to play against them. So I don't feel like this is going to be easy. Also, the Diamondbacks are a good team. One of the few surprise teams of the year. Who knows? We'll see how long they're able to keep it up, because I don't think anyone expected this. But I remember this is like maybe a week or maybe even 2 weeks ago, I was watching a game, and they were talking about the NL West. It wasn't even a Cubs game. It was just a random Cubs game. And, they were talking about the Diamondbacks and how how they're playing well, and they were trying to figure out why. And, well, their starting pitching is very strong so far this year compared to last year. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens tonight. But, yeah, I mean, they gotta do well against the Diamondbacks starting pitching if they plan on winning at least one game this weekend.
Yes, the former Cub factor is always a storyline going into any game where you have a former Cub, especially someone that didn't do well with the Cubs. Like, I feel like that's always the guy that comes back to bite them as soon as he's gone. So, and information-wise, just for fans, in case they were working or at school today and didn't have time to check Twitter, Seiya Suzuki, Nico Hoerner still day today, so they're not in the lineup tonight as they start the series with the Diamondbacks. And when the lineup came out, then I was curious, well, what's it going to look like? And Ortega's leading off. Okay, I'm cool with that. Contreras batting second, then Happ, Wisdom, Rivas at first, Schwindel DH, Hayward in center field, and then you have VR and Vargas at second base and shortstop. And that's because Andrelton Simmons is still in AAA. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, Drew Smyly's on the mound. There's going to be contact tonight, and your up the middle defense is probably questionable at best. Like, it's just, it's nobody's going into a game saying, yeah, we got VR and Vargas second and short, and we feel great defensively. Like, it's a lockdown situation. Like, that's no offense. That's just being honest. Like, they're not known for being great gloves necessarily.
Right. I will say VR, we've only seen him really look bad defensively at short and at third. So at second base, I mean, we haven't seen bad over there at least. So if you want me to spin zone it for you, but Vargas, he had some misplays out there in that third game against San Diego. Hopefully, it was his first game back up with the Cubs since being there at AAA. So I know he was up last year too, but I think Vargas, everyone knows what Vargas is, and that's why it's very discouraging, because I'm not going to assume he's going to, open our eyes or anything. Right. So, you're just hoping that they at least make the easy plays. And what they're really going to miss from Nico is that he made a lot of plays that aren't easy, on top of all the routine plays. So for these two guys, you're just hoping they can at least make the routine plays. And I don't feel like I need to hope too much for that. I mean, this is the major leagues, right? Like they should be expected to make routine plays. I say that, and we'll probably see an error in the first inning now, but that's all we can ask for from these two.
Right. Well, VR was was it the Rays game that he was just, that's where he just kind of had the yips. Like, hopefully that part of it is over.
Right. Yeah, it definitely was. Like in those two, again, the plays that we've seen VR really have issues is at short or at third base. So, over at second, you're hoping that, shorter throw, you can get the ball at first easier, because I feel like all of his things have been just throwing the ball to first base. He's had an issue doing it. Like you said, the yips. So, it's not as far to throw, man. Just get it to the guy. It's not like surgery or anything, just I'm trying to make it sound like it's so easy. And I know, like, I'm not a major league ball player, so it's hard for me to say too much, but for what we should expect, I mean, again, this is the major leagues, just like make the routine plays, and like that's what they should expect, and that's what we should expect, and like there's nothing wrong with expecting routine plays to be made. So hopefully the Cubs shift correctly this evening, and shift. Hopefully they shift correctly this evening, and they're not really put in situations where they have to make tough plays. So, Vargas, we'll see what happens. Hopefully Simmons is up on the major league roster, by Sunday or Monday. I don't know his progress, but like, I don't know how many games they need him to play in AAA.
Right. If he's doing 9 innings today and 9 innings tomorrow, I mean,
right.
You play 9 innings at AAA. Why wouldn't you bring him up on?
Right. Like he's been playing every day. Like I know like he ddidn't have a spring training, but like the Cubs are in a situation where they desperately need him. I mean, do you want to get a full week of him in there? Like, I get, if that's the case, then fine. Like I'm definitely thinking of it more from a like right now, more so than a long-term situation here. But the Cubs are coming off winning 2 out of 3 in San Diego, and you want to keep that momentum going, right? And it's just like, if the Cubs lose because their infield can't field baseballs tonight, then you're just kind of like, if it's not one thing, it's another. And so, like, I'd preferably not feel like that. I mean, I don't think anyone here in the chat wants to feel that. So, like, all I can ask from these two tonight is just, again, make the routine plays, and hopefully Simmons can be up by Sunday, I guess. We haven't really been told like when he'll be here, but the Cubs are
more likely on Monday that they would just, tell him to go to Wrigley Field from Iowa as opposed to fly to Arizona and then fly with the team. Like
that makes sense. Yes.
It probably would be Monday. I knew it was Willson Contreras' birthday. I knew it was Nico Horner's birthday because I think I saw the Cubs tweet that, or was that our account?
We did tweet about Willson Contreras' birthday.
I didn't know it was Given's birthday. Natalie's on the chat, and Natalie says it's the trifecta for Friday the 13th that Givens will shove from the bullpen.
Oh, I did not know that.
To have 3 guys on the team with the same birthday?
Yeah, apparently.
They got to win tonight. You can't
lose
win 3 guys celebrating their birthday. Unless they all got to Arizona and they all went out and celebrated their birthday before they get, the game. Then I don't feel good about it. Alec Mills, bullpen session tomorrow, and Bodie getting at bats, extended spring training. So those are 2 more, while you have a
even
ton of
Bodie
guys
would
injured,
be nice right now. Like,
Bodie
could come and play defense. Yeah, like if we could have I would rather watch him play defense than Eldemaro Vargas. Let's be honest.
Right. Like I'd for sure rather have VR at short, and then or even if both guys were out, we'd Simmons at short and Bodie.
I will say I'm a little discouraged now about Suzuki, because I thought with this extra off day that they'd get him back in the lineup today. Yeah. And he's not. So the Cubs aren't telling us what the issue is. Like, maybe, like, I don't know. I mean, ankles are ankles, and I don't, the Cubs are in no position to rush anyone back. We've talked about it over and over. But again, it's about, he was starting to hit again these last couple games, especially here in San Diego. He had a big hit in that 9th inning, the pinch hit in the 9th inning there to almost help the Cubs lead that comeback. And then the night before, I believe he had, or no, I think it was the final game On Sunday, I thought he had a hit or something. I don't know. I don't have it all in my head, but you know, you need him to get a bat
for no Bodie. Niren's on the chat mocking us. Oh no Bodie.
I'm just talking about defense, man.
Yeah,
like,
agreed. I'm not saying he's going to save the team, but like,
yeah,
you could use him.
No one here is going to save the team, man. No one's going to save this team.
No,
it is what it is. But again, if you're looking for answers, if you're exploring, as you like to say, Luke, like you kind of need guys to play, man. Like, I don't want Drew Smiley to go out there and have to throw more pitches than he has to because the infield defense can't make plays, right? Like,
right.
And then the same thing with whoever comes out of the bullpen. That's part of the future. Like, it's just it's kind of you lose situation. So yeah, you want guys to be healthy.
Jack on the chat reminding everybody, don't forget it's Apple Plus tonight for the broadcast. And I totally forgot about it this afternoon. Mm-hmm. And so now, as soon as this podcast is over, I'm going to go scramble upstairs to see if I can get Apple Plus on the television. And you know me with technology, like there's a chance I might be out in my car driving around in circles listening to this game on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
why are they doing this? Like, I just don't understand. I understand like rights. They pay a lot of money for it. They deserve it. But at the same time, you're trying to expand your game.
Right.
And you're trying to expand it internationally. You're trying to grow the game, make it more popular for everybody. So fine, give it to Apple, but the home broadcast should always be on television. Like, I don't get the blackout thing. I just think that part of it is stupid. Like,
right. Everyone does.
I mean, you'll still get extra people to look at Apple Plus. Frankly, I don't know if these two teams draw a ton of people tonight that are average Cubs fans or below average Cubs fans to be like, you know what, I'm going to sign up for Apple Plus tonight. I just think it's a stupid idea.
Yeah. I mean, from my understanding, it's still free to watch as long as you just log on to the Apple TV app. From my understanding.
Do I need a login, Cody? Am I going to need a login? Because you know how
you have an iPhone, so you should just be able to log in with your Apple ID.
But I don't remember my Apple ID. You know, that's a problem. Apple ID, come on, they're asking for it like it's my social security number all the time. And I'm like, give me a break. How do I remember my Apple ID?
You know, the iPhones, especially, they're now set up to like save all of your passwords and everything for you for everything.
Right. So that when you lose it, somebody can have all your passwords. It's all a mess.
I mean, if you let someone have your phone, I guess it's a very like useful tool, a part of like as they've updated the iOS. Right. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Natalie's right. She's like, Grandpa Stuckey has a Cubs notebook filled with written down passwords. Yeah, but the problem is I can't find that notebook ever. Like, I'm sure I have it written down somewhere, you know, but then I can't remember where I put the notebook. That's the other problem.
Yeah. Well, it's a situation. Hopefully everyone figures it out. And at the very least, just turn on the radio because Pat and Ron will always be there. So
Levi says, made my Apple ID when I was like 13. I'm 28 now. I can't remember it either. Well, if you're 28,
like wait
do you get to your 50 and you're trying to remember your passwords?
That is every millennial. He's 28. I'm 30. I'm be 31 in less than like, what is it? I'd be 31 in 5 days. Like, yeah, that is every millennial out there. Like, create an Apple ID like in their early teens, and we've had the same one since. Like, that's just what it is. So
shouldn't the iPhone be able to just read like whatever I'm logging into? Shouldn't it just be able to scan my eyeball at this point? Like, they've got all my info already.
Put the scan feature on my Roku TV behind me right now, and like, you know, let me just put my face there, and it'll log me in automatically, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, it's like the government's got my information for sure. Hackers probably have my information for sure, and multiple countries that we don't want to have our information probably have our information too, just based on the TikToks we're doing, Cody, you know?
Yeah, you're probably right. They probably got my information too after the TikTok I made today.
Looks like the porn bots have gotten into the chat tonight.
Yeah, so, it's like 2 shows in a row now. I feel like the show we did on me, Ryan, and the one we did yesterday.
They jumped in on that one too?
I think so. I can't remember, but you know how it goes. Everyone's pointing them out too.
Right. You know, it's a Friday the 13th. I mean, why not have some porn bots jump in on our live show. Sure. Great.
Right.
Did you bet tonight? Did you place any wagers on this?
I did place some bets tonight. I took the Yankees tonight. Last
Boy,
I
you're
checked,
off to a good start there.
Yeah, I thought they were up 2-0 last I checked.
5-0, top of the third.
Oh man, Vince Velasquez is back, baby. But I made that bet on PointsBet, and the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even have a new exclusive feature, live NBA same-game parlay. For the first time ever, build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. You can even boost your live same-game parlays. And now online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. Signing up with the fastest sportsbook is now easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. Use code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Get a problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. And yes, my parlay that I made tonight for the Celtics-Bucks game is looking good so far. So I just want to throw that out there.
Very nice. Yeah, I see Jack Lowe jumped in on the Apple discussion, said, great, let's pay extra to the deluxe channel to watch 2 tepid teams. What a way to grow the Cubs fan base. I mean,
yeah.
I can't argue with that. I just think it's obviously Major League Baseball involved in this.
I know why MLB is putting the Cubs in like these situations. Like they're on Sunday Night Baseball last weekend, and
they're still the Cubs.
Like they are the Cubs, and people like they know there's a gigantic Cubs fan base, so they're going to put it out there. But I don't know about you, Luke. Like every time the Cubs are involved in one of these things, it gives me a headache because it's always a disaster. Like the way, whether it's the broadcast or the Cubs lose in the most depressing way. I mean, the way they lost to the Dodgers last Sunday was just awful. Like it took everything out of me in terms of like it was already a tough weekend and then just got even worse. And like the way that things were going, it's just like this can't get any worse. And like we're getting embarrassed on national television. Now we're gonna go on Apple tonight and potentially lose to Zach Davies. Are you like Zach Davies' revenge game? Like I hate this. Like if it was up to me, the Cubs would never be on like national television. Just give me Boog and JD or Sutcliffe or, whoever that we're used to on marquee, or Pat and Ron if I want to just listen to the radio, and like that's it. Unless we get into the playoffs and we're a really good I don't like being on national television watching the Cubs in season. I just don't.
Yeah. By the way, I talked to our buddy Dan Plezak. He's doing the Sox series coming up end of the month, so he'll be in town.
Oh, you have to come in studio.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can talk him into it. He's hoping to hit a bunch of restaurants and stuff. And I was like, well, maybe if you got a little bit of time, swing on over. And he's we'll see. Let's say that he's going to go see, and his mom and kids are in town too. So
I got you.
Hey, speaking of guys in town visiting,
speaking of guys,
Anthony Rizzo over on the south side, not playing tonight, but so they just stick DJ LeMahieu over at first base. So just put another former Cub over there. What the heck?
That series is just full of like.
Well, the Yankees are full of former Cubs. I mean,
right, like that. But then you also got former Cubs prospects on the Sox, and it's just like
Josh Harrison. Well, I mean, you're right. Like, it's basically
like Josh Harrison. Cease last night. Eloy's over there. We got to deal with that forever. And then, but even on the Yankees, it's like. They got Rizzo, they got LeMahieu, they got Josh Donaldson. Like it's just like why are they there with all those teams? It's been I mean, guys like Donaldson, like that trade, it is what it is. The Cubs went for it, didn't work out, whatever. LeMahieu, I think we've talked about LeMahieu a lot and how like, everyone wants to talk about Eloy and Cease for Quintana being like the worst Theo trade, but that LeMahieu one really hurts because Ian Stewart was just awful, and at least Quintana was productive and gave you starts every fifth day, So
right.
yeah.
I remember the day they called up LeMahieu and I did like a dugout interview with him, and it was just another prospect. And they're like, I said, you want me to do an interview with LeMahieu for the pregame show? And they're kind of like, yeah, I guess so. It's turned out to be a pretty good player, that's for sure.
Yeah. Right.
So Anthony Rizzo back in town, and here's one of there was some good quotes. All the reporters talked to him yesterday, and this is one we wanted to. If you don't feel bad and you don't have some tears in you, go ahead and check this one out. The first thing I thought of, and I told this to Emily, that's his wife, when I saw Lake Michigan, it was calm yesterday when we got in. All I thought of was the wind is blowing out at Wrigley. So, there's no way for him to not think of Wrigley Field. And, he had a lot of great things to say about it, talked about, the business side of it. He knows it's business. It hurt, all of that. But that he's still.
He admitted he was mad. And we all knew he was mad, but
and I think that's just natural human nature, right?
For sure. Yeah.
But I saw he made a hospital visit today to, kids with cancer again. And it's like, we'll talk a little bit more about that in the post-game show. I think he's still part of Chicago. He's not playing for the Cubs anymore, but I think it's really cool that he's still involved in the community and taking care of people that, he was with and talking to and being a part of their lives prior to being traded away. So I think
I think her first name is Erin Fitzy. She goes by that nickname. You heard of that name? She always has a sign at Wrigley Field.
Really? No, I don't.
Every time she's there, she has a sign. She has pictures with all these former Cubs, Baez, Bryant, Rizzo, obviously. I don't really know too much about her.
Woman with the gray hair, is that her name?
No, this is like a kid. I don't know how old she is. She's definitely older now. She's probably at least in her late teens, but I've seen pictures of her from back when the core was just developing. I follow her on Twitter. But everyone calls her Fitzy. I know she's every picture of her is with a player and she's wearing an obvious shirt. I mean, she is the die-hardest of die-hard Cubs fan. And she I saw her tweet today that she'll be at the Yankees White Sox game tomorrow, probably with a Rizzo jersey or something like that on. But she has a very close relationship with Rizzo, I believe, with stuff related to this. I'm not exactly sure what the story behind her is, but she's kind of popular on Cubs Twitter, and because of how much she loves the Cubs and how much she loves Rizzo. So
that's cool.
Yeah. But that kind of just sums up Anthony Rizzo's legacy with the Cubs, right? The whole cancer thing and everything. So we'll probably talk about this on post game, but I tweeted this last night from our account. It's still blowing up, but does it rub you the wrong way that people actually booed him? And it's basically just Sox fans because he was a Cub. Yes. To me, that's
because of what he just did today. Because of what he did today. Forget it. If you're a Sox fan and you're booing him, remember he's not in a Cubs uniform anymore, and he probably has a little bit less love for the franchise in general that maybe he did before. He says he doesn't, but he's a little bitter about it.
Yeah.
Yet he came back to Chicago and he's still part of, whether you're a Sox fan or a Cubs fan, kids with cancer and living in the Chicago area are still kids in your area living with cancer.
Yeah.
I mean,
it just rubs me the wrong way.
That they booed him. If I was a Cubs fan and Mark Burley came to Wrigley Field as a member of the Cardinals, I'm not booing him.
Yeah.
He did too much in the city.
Yeah. I just think that I feel like the only Sox player that I'd ever boo that's has gone on, is not playing anymore is probably AJ Pierzynski, and that's for obvious reasons.
Right.
He's one that he was one of those guys that if he wasn't on your team, you just didn't like him. That's it. Be honest, right? But Rizzo wasn't like that for opposing teams.
No.
That's if it was Baez or Contreras, I'd totally understand it. But what did it like? Anthony Rizzo didn't
Rizzo
like
and
ever
Bryant
say
didn't,
anything.
they didn't
like
anger anybody.
So to me, and again, we're gonna talk about this more on postgame, but like to me, it's just more little brother syndrome from the South Side fan base. Like, I'm sorry, that's just how it feels. It's just like enjoy that your team is good and get over us. Like, we are going through a lot more pain than you guys are right now. Like, just watch your team succeed and stop thinking about us all the time. Like that's how I feel about it. Like it's really like, it's honestly a little funny because like even when the Cubs are bad like they are right now, we still are living in their heads utilities free at this point because y'all are going to go out of your way to boo a guy who's like, not just, well, I mean, obviously he's known for being a baseball player for the Cubs, but like we were just talking about, like with the whole cancer patients thing and donating all that money and like just being like a legend in the city as an athlete. Like, I don't know. It's just,
Rizzo's like Paul Konerko or,
that's like, what I was thinking
Paul Konerko comes to this, to Wrigley Field. Why would you boo him? Like, just because he did well a few times against your team? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
And
it's like, it just like, though, like, I just don't get the urge to want to boo those guys. And I'm not saying that Cubs fans wouldn't do that. I'm sure there would be some Cubs fans who do it. But like, Jesse Rogers tweeted last night that there were a loud amount of boos for Rizzo. So it's like, okay, so like a large amount of people at the stadium did it. It's just like, I don't know, man. It just rubs me the wrong way. Like if it's Baez or Contreras or someone who like is flashy and you know or talks like those guys do,
or has said something
about, I would totally get it, and I'd actually love it. Like I would actually respect it, and I'd love it. But to me, this is just like, again, like I said, little brother syndrome. So,
so Friday the 13th, it's only fitting that it's Drew Smiley against Zach Davies, another former Cub. Davies. How do you feel about that matchup? Do you really have, because he's been good this year, of their top 4 starters, his ERA is the highest, but it's like 3.34 or something like that. Like this is his best year in a long time. Does Friday the 13th scare you against Mr. Davies?
I wish it, I mean, what did I tweeted from the account today? Something's got to give, right? Like Davies has to, regress. Because, no one saw this coming from him. Like, I mean, he's got, 3.34 ERA in the handful of starts he's got this year. I'll give credit where credit is due. He's pitching well, but will he be able to do it all season? I wouldn't bet on it, that's for sure. I will say that he is in good position to do it with Nico Horner and Seiya Suzuki out of the lineup, that's for sure. But Willson Contreras has been on a hot tear. He's got 2 home runs against him in his career. So, it's, I don't know. If the Cubs, this is when Davey struggled with the Cubs when he just left, like he gave up a lot of homers for the Cubs, right? Like,
a lot.
He's a soft tossing, pitcher. He like, the Cubs are going to have to take advantage of the balls he leaves over the plate. Like we always compared him to like a poor man's Kyle Hendricks, and Kyle Hendricks is like the poor man's Greg Maddux, right? Like,
but he's more than just the poor man, Kyle Hendricks. Like,
right. I mean, I feel like we said that when he was with Milwaukee.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Those are like his best years, probably when he was with Milwaukee. But I mean, when I think of Zach Davies and like against the Cubs, I do think more so when he was with Milwaukee. But a lot of the lineup was a lot different than obviously, and
that team's
just
gone.
He's just like the way he pitched really what against those guys was he just really took advantage of the fact that a lot of them were boomer bust type players. Now the Cubs have a lot more contact in the lineup, so maybe if the Cubs can just like consistently put the ball in play tonight, like maybe some holes will open up for him. But if he's inducing a lot of soft contact, that's not going to bode well. So the Cubs are just going to have to, really take advantage of the opportunities when he does leave the ball over the plate. And, hopefully, ride that momentum like we were saying at the top of the show.
So who you got?
So I kind of hinted at it. I'm going to take Willson Contreras tonight. He's been mashing the baseball this week. He's got 2 home runs against Zach Davies. I know he's batting only like 200 or 220 something or whatever, something like that. Batting average isn't great, but 2 home runs against him, and he's hitting well right now. I would say if he does hit a home run often tonight, it'll be probably off a hanging breaking pitch. But I mean, I don't know. But I mean, if the Cubs win tonight, Willson Contreras has a good game because, like, man, with Nico and Seiya out, that's huge.
Yeah.
For like,
I was gonna take Nico. I was gonna take the 2 birthday boys. I thought we got to take the 2 birthday boys, and then he wasn't in the lineup. And I feel like Seiya would have done well against Davies too because he's patient generally. You know, like he hasn't been great lately, but I feel like it's guys with the heat that sometimes bother him that can mix up some kind of crazy. A soft tossing guy, I don't think bothers him as much as somebody that can mix in a crazy slider and 98, you know? So
yeah,
I'm going with Rivas just because I like the way he's played recently. And, you know, Ryan is in Vegas, so he made sure he wanted us to double down on Luis Gonzalez playing for the Diamondbacks tonight. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be putting that on the record. He must think
it's 2001 still or something. I don't know.
I
know he was only like a few years old. Yeah.
He said he was going to the sports book tonight, and he was going to double down on Luis Gonzalez against the Cubs.
Wow.
So see how that works out for Ryan.
He should have bet on what was his name, Young Kim, to get the save.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, hopefully I'll be able to get my Apple Plus. I'm going to put on my tech hat here after this and see if I can go upstairs and figure it out.
Would love, if you can't figure it out, would love to just get a video. You should just tweet out a video of you in your car or something listening to Pat and Ron. Like, I'd love to see something like that.
No, we would love not to see that. We'd love for to go upstairs and be like, oh, I do have Apple Plus. I didn't even know it. So I don't know who I call for tech support, but I might be calling you right after this, or Natalie. One of you two is going to have to walk me through this.
Okay.
So we're going to do an hour-long post-game show. Hope you'll stay up with us. Cody and I are going to be, well, I'll be watching.
Be back here.
We'll see if I'll be watching. I hope I am.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the CHGO Cubs pregame show. We hope you'll stick around afterwards for the hour-long post-game show because we know a Friday the 13th post-game show chat will be nothing but lit. So we'll see you then and hopefully fly the W.